surprise you by speaking ever. Enti allergic be madog be na mi akeke egbia. No le se show ya fisha afikole. No le keta keji afiande nyigba.
Abo akachi abo anyako.
Can you continue with the list?
Ohahu. Afiara nyigba.
Or you're even at Nogokpo.
Or Agbozuma.
Agbozumala. And wherever you're listening to us from our caucus, we say, oh, thank you very much for tuning in to Z101.9 FM. My name is Nia Solomon, and I'm always here with
Priscilla Mawina Wellington. Hororio.
Oh. I think on the show today, really, we are enjoying Ghana, isn't it?
Ghana is a beautiful country.
It is a very beautiful country. And maybe we'd have to play some Ever song today, you know, and say the Hododio.
Oh.
Priscilla, being an Ewe, what is the meaning of Hododio?
A Hododio.
What does it mean?
It means Hododio.
Usually when I meet my tourists, I'll say, you know, the way we greet in Ghana, we say Ago, and then you respond Amen. Then they ask me, so what is the meaning of Ago? I say Ago is Ago.
Ago is knock knock.
It's knock knock,
yes,
right?
It's to announce your presence, and then if you're well received, they'll say Amen. You're welcome in.
Yeah. Well, that's very true. And on the show today, we are just about to go into destination drive, and want to tell you about a very wonderful destination that if you are in the city of Accra, and if you haven't visited this, we are encouraging you to go there. It is child friendly. You can go there with your children, with your family, with your friends, and even your enemies. It's one of the most beautiful tourist attractions you have to see, and the storytelling there, it's amazing.
Feel it. Just saw me, baby. Feel it. Just saw me, Kwame, sweetie. Feel it. Just saw me, baby. Me, stay au soir. Mama say,
I want to use the opportunity of saying a very big shout out to all the PhD students. I mean, Lorna, everybody, your year group. I mean, you guys are amazing, man. Doing a PhD is not easy. So, Charlie, for making through this journey all the way at the University of Ghana Business School, big shout out to you. Noel Nuchigan and everybody, Gidad Awini, and the entire squad, man. Well done, guys. Okay, Priscilla, let's come back to you. What destination are we looking at today?
So if you are in Ghana, you really need to visit the Kwame Nkurmah Mausoleum. Have you been there in the last year, in the last month, especially this month, Heritage Month, Ghana Month? The Kwame Nkurmah Mausoleum is a national memorial located in downtown Accra, Ghana. It's the final resting place of Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkurmah, and his beautiful wife, Fatia Nkurmah. The mausoleum is situated on a 5-acre site, which was formerly the polo grounds of the British colonial administration. It was designed by architect Don Arthur. We need to find Don Arthur.
We really have to invite him.
We need to, because there are some edifices in Ghana that we really need to know the inspiration behind it.
True.
You guys, we have an amazing surprise coming up for you in the next few months. Don Arthur, and features an upside down sword design symbolizing peace in Akan culture. So when you go to the mausoleum the next time, or especially in this month, try and make sure that you can see the sword upside down. The structure is clad in an Italian marble with a black star at its apex, representing unity. Inside the mausoleum, you'll find a museum showcasing Nkrumah's life and achievements, including photographs, personal belongings, and historical artifacts. The museum also features a walkthrough digital exhibit that depicts Kwame Nkrumah's speeches, prior to independence, and post-independence. The Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum and Memorial Park attracts approximately 98,000 visitors annually, making it one of the top 10 most visited sites in Ghana. It's located in downtown. You know, around the Bank of Ghana. You have to visit Kwame Nkrumah, especially in this month, to really, really learn so much about the man that brought independence for us and know the history of your country and why we even have the mausoleum in the first place. So you can go there with students. It's actually open Monday to Friday, and today we have an amazing speaker who Nia and I are going to introduce shortly, who is the acting director at the mausoleum. He's going to share so much about the place for us and even facts that we need to know that we don't know. So stay tuned.
Z 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio. Z 101.9 FM.
So the venture me, come shani bikayanka minjindio. So the venture, oh ya loma jata, oh don't manata ni. So bye, oh ya loma jata, oh don't manata ni. So bye, my sorti, my silti, my rasheti, mami ubonio, babo kana menti. So the venture me. So the venture me, so bad data me. Bofra body coco, where the dam and I'm natural. Bofra body coco, where the dam and I'm natural. Bofra body coco, where the dam and I'm natural. Got you.
Well, this is Z101.9 FM. I know lots of you are jamming to this song by Kwame. Well, you're listening to Roots and Routes on Z101.9 FM. My name is Nia Solomon. I'm doing this with Priscilla.
We are now Wellington.
Well, so as mentioned by Priscilla, we shall be having a very wonderful conversation with a gentleman that I know personally. Though Priscilla is the one doing the interview, I'll be tagging along. Well, this gentleman is amazing. He is the director at the acting director of the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, or what most people call the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. Did you know that Kwame Nkrumah was buried 3 times? He is the only human being on the surface of the earth that has been buried 3 times. And do you know why he chose the Polo Grounds to actually declare the independence of Ghana? Yeah. He chose the old Polo Grounds to declare the independence of Ghana for a very important reason. I'm sure on the show, when we have the director speaking to us, he will touch on all these things. Why was Kwame Nkrumah buried 3 times? And why is the wife, Fathia Nkurmah, why is she buried by him? I'm sure the director will talk to us about all that, and then even the significance of the mausoleum and why it looks like a tree that has been cut, or even the sword that has been turned upside down. This among many conversations we shall be having on the show today, so make sure that you tune in, you stay with us, and let's continue the journey. It is very important to know a lot about the first president of Ghana, Dr. Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah. So, Priscilla, how is the Ghana month going for you?
Well, I think the Ghana month has been very exciting. Yesterday, they had 68 taste.
Wow.
at the
Amazing.
Memorial Park. Guys, were you there? Did you taste?
I was there.
What food did you eat?
Jollof.
Nipa. You should be eating something like ayikple.
There were things. So there were a lot of food.
Apapransan, which we call jenkple.
Yeah.
You know, ayoyo, pinot, fufu, and bunubunu, nkwai, nkatinkonto.
Charlie, I was very impressed. The food was free, so you just go around and taste as many food that
I'm
you can
definitely going there today after the show.
And there was also a celebrity area that I saw a few celebrities. Lebanon, something Lebanon was there. There was also
I know James Gardner was one of the judges.
He was one of the judges. I saw Ochami Kwame was actually there. He was cooking. Mr. Beautiful was there cooking. Oh, that gentleman can dance. He was just going around. I don't know whether he really cooked or he just danced. I'm telling you, it was fire. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I think that the Ghana Tourism Authority, the Ghana Tourism Development Company we have to give them a pat at the back for organizing this event. It was just amazing.
And are you wearing the Ghana fabrics? Are you wearing Ghana? Are you eating Ghana? Especially this month. I think the beginning of March, I make sure everything I'm wearing, there's an African print there.
Yeah.
Whether it's corporate or it's casual, it has to be wear Ghana. Guys, let's promote Ghana. Wearing Ghana is so comfortable, right?
It is. For me, usually when I even travel and I have to do presentations elsewhere, whatever, I like to wear
I like
Ghana.
Your fabric.
I like to wear Ghana, wear Ghana, so that we promote our destination and the things that actually makes us authentically unique. And one thing I noticed about the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum recently while I was there was that I saw some school children, and I think I like what we are doing with our school children, going on these excursions and learning about these various sports. And it was very, very fascinating and heartwarming to see these kids being told the story. And there were these young girls who were crying when they heard about the overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah, how he went to exile, and how they made him a co-president. Like, they were weeping while some were also taking notes. Yeah.
I think that as part of our school curriculum, we need to invest a lot of time in making sure that our students, our local students, or should I even say local student, our students actually have a lot of information about our tourist site, because most of the time when they're just going for excursion, the idea is like, we're going to have fun, we're going to have an exciting time, and they don't remember. But if we're going for educational purpose, I still remember going to the meteorological department and the Legon, and I know how to pronounce that word because I went there. But all the other places that we went for the sake of excursion, I don't remember. So that's great. Kudos to the school that brought them.
Educational tourism is huge, and once the kids are taken to these spaces, and I always say that the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum is a family-friendly tourist site to visit, and this is in the heart of the city, Accra Central. So if you don't know the location, we're about to interview the director. Priscilla is about to go into a conversation with the director online. You should listen to all the things he would say about the site, and you can take your family there. They have kids playing ground. They have these beautiful fountains. It is nice. It's really cool. And where the location is, you can't miss it.
There's a myth that it's expensive. Please, it's not expensive. If you're a Ghanaian adult, I think you'll be paying between 20 to 25 cedis. And if a local student, 5 cedis. So you don't even need, though we need to promote, our tourism packages. If you don't have the budget to hire a bus and put all of those together, you can just pick Trotro. Trotro. Pick Trotro to Accra Central, and then pick a stroll with your family and go all the way to Kwame Nkrumah. If you are light at the circuit court, which is the Ghana Library. You just cross the street. Yeah, even Tema Station. Please go learn something. Go visit the place. Don't just go window shopping at the Accra Mall where you don't learn anything. Go do window shopping at Kwame Nkurmah. What would they shop?
They will learn something. They will learn something. And there are other tourist sites that you really have to visit that you also learn a lot. And on this show, we have actually shared a lot and lots of places.
We've talked about Abuadaka Falls last week. We've talked about Cinema Falls, Flea Waterfalls, Mognori Eco Village. And today we're talking about the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park or Mausoleum. So stay tuned, pay attention, and plan your tour packages well for yourself and for your family so you can know Ghana better, appreciate Ghana better, and discover Ghana if you haven't discovered Ghana yet.
Yeah. So we'll be back shortly to get into the conversation with Mr. Edward Kwame.
You're tuned in to Z 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
just joining in, then you are listening to the Root and Routes show, bringing destination stories to life. And I hope you're enjoying that bobobo dance. I hope you're shaking yourself. It's Ghana month, you all. It's Ghana month. We're celebrating Ghana. We're celebrating our history. We're celebrating our culture. And today we are going to learn so much about the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, or else known as the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, and I am going to be engaging the acting director of the place to share more information about the place and some facts that you need to know that you don't already know. It's your Power Smile Ambassador, Priscilla Mawina Wellington, and today we are just shaking my DJ, Bernard. He's a Power Smile DJ. He's giving it to me back to back. So I'll be right back.
You're tuned in to Zed 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio. Zed 101.9 FM.
Flowers on the one and pewa. Other was on me bell. Oh, a pie. Other was on me bell. Oh, a pie. About me, other chair. I'm about you. Other chair. I'm around. Nesu was you. Other who's was you. A pie. Oh, yo. Kwame on me bell. A pie. Miss Marshall was a don't know. I want to go. At the end, we never grow.
It's Root and Routes, bringing destination stories to life, and I have my guest speaker on now, Mr. Edward Kwame. Hello.
Hi.
It's such a pleasure to meet you. Please, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
I am fantastic. You can hear that from my voice. So it's Ghana man. How has the month been for you?
So thanks for having me. So as you mentioned, my name is Edward Kwame, the acting director of the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. So the month of March, as the Ghana month, as it's been referred to, for the park where our first president is laid, it's been pretty good for us. So numbers have been good. We have more of our Ghanaians, especially our school kids, taking field trips to learn about our first president. So even as we speak now, my premise is very busy with a lot of school kids wanting to know about our first president. Yeah.
That's wonderful. I'm happy to know that a lot of Ghanaians are trooping in there to learn more about our former first president, the one who brought us independence. If you are just tuning in, you are listening to Root and Route, and we are listening to Mr. Edward Kwao. He is the acting director at the Ghana Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, or better known as the Memorial Park. Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. So I want to know, why did they choose the old polo place to declare independence? Why did Kwame Nkrumah, of all the places in Accra or all the places in Ghana, why was the old polo place chosen to declare the Ghana's independence by our first president?
So the reason why our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, chose the park was the fact that during our colonial period, this was actually where our colonial master, the British, our last colonial master, the British used to play one of their favorite sports, polo. And it was a place that was actually reserved for only themselves. We as locals were not allowed to come. The best we could do were those who were supposed to clean up the place, but we're not allowed to come properly to this place. So when it was due for us to gain independence, Dr. Nkrumah thought that the right place to have the speech declared and made was the old polo ground. That is why we have the memorial built just at the place which used to be a reserved area for only our colonial master. So he chose a place.
Wow.
For this particular place. Yeah.
Wow. That's making a statement that we don't just have independence, we are actually in charge of the place that we were not even allowed to be in the first place. That's great. So do you know why he was buried 3 times? So Nia and I were discussing, and we realized that our first president was buried 3 times. 3 times, Mr. Kwao. Can you tell us more about that? I don't know how many people know that our first president was buried 3 times.
So as far as my memory serves me right, and as far as most of our past leaders are concerned, he's the only person who has been buried 3 times. This is it. So after he was overthrown in the coup of 1966, he was actually not in Ghana, had traveled on his way to Vietnam when the coup happened. So he had to go into a self-imposed exile in Conakry, Guinea. He went to Guinea because his best friend then was the then Guinean leader, Sekou Touré. So he was in China. He was actually en route to Vietnam. In China then, the news got to him. So his friend asked him to come to Guinea. So he got to Guinea, and the Guinean government, in a way to spite Ghanaians, made Nkrumah their co-president. More so of the fact that Nkrumah had played a key role in Guinea's independence struggle in 1958. So he became their co-president. But as he lived there, he fell sick, so they flew him to Romania, where he died. And then, obviously, because he was Guinea's co-leader before he died, they had control over what happened to his body. So they took him back to Guinea and gave him his first state funeral in Guinea. But just around the time that he died, Nkrumah unfortunately died before his mother. So his mother was alive when he died. Her name was Elizabeth Nyanebato. At the time she heard her only child had died, she made a plea to Nkrumah's best friend, that the Guinean leader, to have him return to her.
Yeah.
Because that's her only child. So Sekou Touré negotiated, had discussions with other people, and they agreed that they should bring him back, if for nothing because of Nkrumah's mother. So before they brought Nkrumah from Guinea, one of the preconditions was the fact that we must have a memorial built for him somewhere in Ghana. And at that time, our then head of state was, Achampon. He also played a role, and then they moved Nkrumah's body from Guinea and took him to his family home at Nkurmah, where a mausoleum was built for him. So he was because they embalmed him after he died, he was actually on public display in the village. Wow. But then, fast forward, the idea came later during the time of the late Dr. Hila Liman to have a place built for Nkrumah as a national memorial. Unfortunately, he was overthrown in a coup. Then our then head of state, the late Jerry John Rawlings took up the mantle and had this place built for him. Then they moved him from his family home to
Which is his mother's hometown.
Memorial Park. Yes, and brought him to the park where we have his remains now interred. That's why we have 3 burials for him.
Wow, such an interesting history. I hope you guys are listening and taking notes. How do you think that the Memorial Park contributes to our cultural heritage and the tourism industry as a whole?
So, Nkurmah himself was someone who promoted our culture. Because one of the things he also said was that there was a need to portray our African identity and personality, which is something that he took upon himself and promoted. But from the way he dressed, there were some of the things he did locally to promote our culture. In terms of tourism, I'm happy to say that we are more or less the leading attraction now.
Wow.
If in Ghana, or let me say in Accra for now. So we are attraction site now. So that's
Yeah, it says you are part of one of the 10 most visited sites, yes, in Ghana.
So we are among the top first 2, 3. We are there.
Okay.
So we are actually up there, helping promote and make money for our country.
For Ghana, that's
For Ghana,
beautiful.
yeah.
That's
So
beautiful.
in terms of numbers, let's say last year, the park at the end of the year had close to almost 300,000, almost 340,000 people
Wow.
passing through the park. So, which is a huge number compared to what we used to have before the park was renovated in 2022. So prior to that time, the highest number we had was during the year of return, which was around 98,000. But since the park was commissioned, redeveloped and commissioned by our former president, Nana Akufo-Addo, the numbers have increased and we are really contributing a lot to our tourism.
That's great to know. That's wonderful. I've always wondered what inspired the design and the construction of the Memorial Park. You know, if you pay attention, I mean, we were reading about the history earlier where you have the sword turned down, which is representing unity and peace. Do you have an idea of what inspired the design of the place?
So the architect of the Memorial Park is a Ghanaian who is actually still alive.
Oh,
His name is Dr. Don Arthur.
Don Arthur.
Don Arthur.
You need to help me find him.
Don Arthur. So actually, the whole place was designed based on what Nkurmah stood for and what his vision was and what he was able to achieve. So you just explained just one aspect of the mausoleum.
Okay.
Where it's like the reverse sword or the akonfena. The other aspect of the mausoleum is the fact that it looks like a truncated tree.
Okay. Yeah.
That basically represents Nkrumah's unfinished work.
Oh.
And that the coup more or less stopped him on what he wanted to achieve for Ghana and Africa as large. So that we represent an unfinished business and more or less up to us now to complete the job that Nkrumah he has started. That's another aspect of it also.
And do you think that we're working towards finishing that work anytime soon? I mean, Kwame Nkrumah has been dead for over centuries, or more than a century, I believe. Do you think that we have any plans, any strategies, any structure in place to finish the work that he started for Ghana?
I would say that is more rhetoric.
Okay.
And that is for all of us to ponder about and what we can also do to achieve what he intended for all of us. Of course, we still talk about the things that he aspired, his vision and stuff. So it's for all of us to really ponder about it and see what we can do in our own small way to achieve more or less, achieve what he wanted to accomplish what he wanted us to have as a people, especially as Africans. His vision was to see a day when Africa is
United.
properly free,
Yes.
united, and economically independent. That is where we must work at.
And do you
So
do
it's for
you
all of
think
us.
we're close to that? Are we economically independent? Are we close?
Obviously, we are not. So we are not. But I think that we can work at it.
Okay.
Once he started it, he knew it was possible for us to do it. So I think we can do something about it. Just look at what happened recently when the American government decided to stop aid in terms of U.S. AID
Yeah.
support to those folks. It meant that we have to find other means
Other
of
source of income to
blocking that
support.
particular
Yeah.
gap that has been created. So those things happen for me for a reason. It also means that when those things happen, it's for us to look within ourselves and see what we can do to support ourselves and make ourselves properly independent. So when those supports are not there, what can we do by ourselves to make life go on for ourselves? And I know that even though presently we are not having that aid from the US AID, His Excellency our President is saying that everything is being done to make sure that the impact of that gap is not felt by us. So in a way, it's also a good omen for us, meaning that we have to think and solve our own problems our own way.
Okay. Speaking to our listeners, what are some of the notable things that are within the Memorial Park that you believe that it's important for them to visit, to see, to learn about as we celebrate Ghana Month?
I think that one thing that we should inculcate into ourselves, especially our young and upcoming kids, is a sense of nationalism and selflessness, which is something that our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkurmah, exhibited. So when you come and go through his story, it inspires you, for you to know, to also think through and see what you can also do to make our country, Ghana, a better place. So we must come and learn about our first president and also pay respect to him. Because once in a while, those of us who have lost our part of our parents, once in a while go to their tombs
to
and
pay
pray for
her,
them.
yes. To
So
remember them.
besides those, there are those who come to the park not because they want to come and really learn about Kwame Nkrumah. Some just only come and pay respect to me. There are those who come and pour libation. Some come and make prayers for him. Others come just to sit by his tomb with a belief that he can impact on them. It depends on how you look at it.
Okay.
So we must come and we must always learn about
Wow. I have so many questions to ask.
Sure.
But then my last question before I let you go, Mr. Edward, is what kind of initiatives do you think are in place to ensure that the legacy of Kwame Nkrumah lives on for our future generation? There was a time I was a very young person. Now I believe that I'm growing. I'm still young, but I'm growing. And so what initiatives are in place, as the acting director, to ensure that the legacy live beyond you, live beyond us, for the generations coming and yet unborn to be able to truly understand where Ghana is coming from and how important our culture and history is?
So what we have been doing all this while usually is through having our own events and also collaborations.
Hello?
With private. Hello, I'm here. Hello, hi. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Me, Mr. Kwao.
Hello? Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Hello, Mr. Kwao.
Hello? Yes, hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so what I was saying was that we've been doing a lot of collaborations with other agencies, private and public, just to make sure that the legacies of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah lives on. It's not just for the park to do. We are playing our part, but larger part of it is us, especially civil society organizations who believe in Nkrumah's vision and Pan-Africanism. So any opportunity we get, we engage such people, have programs and activities just to make sure that his legacy
lives
on.
on.
And as he said before he died, he said Nkrumah never dies. And
Nkrumah
truly,
never dies.
even though he's dead and gone, we still talk about him, and he's more or less reaping a lot of financial benefits for our country.
How beautiful. Yes, and my last question. His beautiful wife, Fatia. I grew up hearing Fatia Fata Nkrumah, and why was Fatia buried by the husband? I'm curious, and I'm sure our listeners are curious too.
Okay, so Fatia, we know, for those who may not know, was an Egyptian lady. She was actually the niece of Gamal Abdel Nasser, the net Egyptian president. So Nkrumah's marriage to Madame Fatia was actually politically arranged. One of the ways of trying to accomplish the vision of Pan-Africanism, more or less uniting Arab Africa to Black Africa. That is why he married Fatia. It was more political to achieve a particular agenda. Now, she died in 2007. They had 3 kids, 2 gentlemen now and a lady. And before she died, on her sickbed, according to accounts from the family, the kids, one of her wishes was to have her laid or buried close to her husband. So at the time she passed on, it was then the presidency of His Excellency John Ijekum Kufuor. So the information was passed on to him, and I think discussions went on in government. It was thought that she kind of deserved it. If for nothing, when Nkrumah was overthrown, in fact, Fatia and the kids were in Ghana when the coup happened. So they were caught up in the whole chaos of the coup. But luckily, they were not harmed. So the Egyptian president that arranged the marriage made sure they were flown safely from Ghana to Egypt. And they did not join Nkrumah in Guinea. So that meant that after Nkrumah's overthrow in Ghana, he could not see his 3 kids and the wife till he passed on, which meant that she was the one that had to raise the kids by herself.
Yeah.
So if she made a wish like that, it was only fair and proper, based on what she had also done, to honor the wish. That is why she was brought and buried close, just for us to also make her soul rest in peace properly.
And I'm very sure Nkrumah, though our leader, as a husband and a father, he was at peace knowing that his children were at peace so that he can concentrate on important matters like saving Africa.
Obviously.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kwao. I'm definitely seeing you after the show. I'm passing by to come meet you. Thank you so much for your time, and hope to have you again another time.
Thanks for having me. Thank you so much. All right, bye.
Bye. If you were just tuning in, then you were listening to Mr. Edward Kwao. He's the acting director at the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, and he's shared so much history and information for us, a sense of nationalism. His last words were, if you are a Ghanaian, he's hoping that when you visit the Kwame Nkrumah nationalism and selflessness, because that is who our first president who brought us independence to Ghana. He was a selfless man. He was a man of nationalism. And the reason you have the truncated tree, the sword turned upside down, is because it's signifying unity. And the fact that it looks like a truncated tree is because Nkrumah's work was never finished, and we are hoping that the generations yet unborn and even us will continue to finish the vision, the passion that Nkrumah started with. And he said Nkrumah never dies. I'll be right back with some music. You are listening to Z101.9 FM, Roots and Routes, bringing destination stories to life.
Odi odati mi wo, oh mami where you fit. Everything never yeah, although you won't fit. Odi odati mi wo, ti mi wo. Everything never yeah, although you won't fit.
It's Roots and Routes bringing destination stories to life. If you just tune in, you are listening to Priscilla Mawina Wellington, your Power Smile ambassador, bringing you redefining customer service in Africa. Today, I had an amazing guest, Mr. Edward Kwame. He is the acting director at the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. And as we're celebrating the Ghana month, you need to pass there. You have to go with families and friends. And today, he was able to share some amazing information with us. Kwame Nkrumah chose the place where we had the Independence Square, where we had the independence speech, because it used to be a polo court for our colonial masters that blacks weren't allowed there. And so it symbolizes the fact that when we earned or when we got independence, he declared that to show that we have taken over, we were in charge and we have won. And Fatia was buried close to him because it was to honor her wish to be buried close to her husband. And if you happen to visit the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, we are definitely sure that you will leave with a sense of nationalism and selflessness, which is what Kwame Nkrumah stood for. It's a pleasure being with you once again. It's Root and Route bringing destination stories to life every Saturday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. on Z101.9 FM. I want to say shout out to my host, Niayi Solomon, who's just run away, but I'm going to meet him. And to my amazing Power Smile DJ. Don't you love my DJ? He's always ensuring that my songs are align with my conversation for each day, Mr. Bernard. Thank you. And my producer, Pascal. And I want to say a shout out to my 3 J's, Jason, Joshua, and Jasmine. I will see you next week. Now, myth. There's a myth that in Ghana, you don't sing and bath in the night. And I want you to send me a message on WhatsApp if you know why. I was told that you don't sing at night in the bathroom because snakes like the songs, and so you are bringing the snakes home. How true is that? So if you have an answer for that, send me a WhatsApp message on 0544321019, and I will see you next week, same time, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. It's Roots and Routes, bringing destination stories to life. I'm out.
You're tuned in to Z101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.